Heads up from the world's top cardiologist. Discover the 6 foods that are poisons for your heart. You might be killing your heart without even realizing it, says Dr. Jonathan Whitmore. That's right, with every bite, sip, or casual snack, you could be silently speeding up the process of clogging your arteries, raising your blood pressure, and putting your health at risk. But that's not even the worst part. The real shocker is that many of these foods masquerade as harmless choices. What you eat every day could be destroying your body from the inside out, and if you don't take action, you might be shortening your life without even noticing. Warning signs. Ever felt unexplained fatigue, a periodic chest pressure? Noticed your breathing seems heavier, that you feel slower? It's not just everyday stress. This could be the start of a much bigger issue. Dr. Whitmore warns there are foods that are true poisons to the heart, and worse, they're everywhere, from that quick snack to your convenient lunch. But I'm not here to scare you, I'm here to help. There's a way to dodge this bullet and protect your health before it's too late. In this video, I'll unveil the 14 most dangerous foods for your heart and what you can do to minimize their harm. Out of these 14, 6 are the absolute worst. These top 6 foods are poisoning your heart. You need to watch until the end. If you want to protect your heart and live longer, you need to know which foods might be silently killing you and more. I'll show you alternatives that could change your fate and ensure you live a healthier, more energetic life. So don't go anywhere. Your cardiovascular health is on the line. 14 burgers, nothing like a juicy burger, right? But have you ever wondered what's really inside that seemingly innocent snack? The truth is, many burgers, especially from fast food chains, are loaded with trans fats, one of the worst enemies of the heart. These artificial fats not only raise LDL cholesterol levels, known as bad cholesterol, but also lower LDL cholesterol, which is essential for keeping arteries clean and healthy. The result, a heightened risk of heart disease and clogged arteries. Trans fats are added to burgers to improve the texture of the meat and increase its shelf life. The problem is regularly consuming them starts to build up fat plaques in your blood vessels, making it harder for blood to flow and raising your blood pressure. And it doesn't stop there. These fats also raise inflammation levels in the body, a silent factor that can trigger heart attacks and strokes. Do you really want to gamble with your health over a simple burger? If you think opting for artisanal burgers might be a solution, watch out for the ingredients. Often the issue isn't just the meat, but also the accompaniments like ultra-processed buns, fatty cheeses and sauces full of sodium and preservatives. All this creates a real cardiovascular bomb. Eating a burger now and then might not be a problem, but when it becomes a habit, the danger is real and imminent. So, what's the better alternative? If you can't give up burgers, opt for homemade versions with lean meat and no added hydrogenated oils. Switch the regular bun for whole grain versions and cut down on the caloric sides. 13. French fries. Crispy, golden, and irresistible. French fries are one of the most consumed foods globally, but what they do to your heart is frightening. The biggest issue isn't the potato itself, but how it's prepared. Fried in highly processed and reused oils, these delights are true bombs of saturated and trans fats that silently clog your arteries. Moreover, they contain very high levels of sodium, which promotes high blood pressure, a major risk factor for heart attacks and strokes. The main villain here is the hydrogenated vegetable oil, used to make the fries more crispy. This oil undergoes a chemical process that makes it extremely difficult for the body to metabolize, resulting in increased bad cholesterol and reduced good cholesterol. Regular consumption of French fries can lead to the accumulation of fat plaques in the blood vessels, hindering blood flow to the heart and increasing the risk of cardiovascular diseases. And if you think eating fries occasionally is harmless, think again. Studies show that just 2 servings a week can increase the risk of premature death. Another hidden danger of French fries is acrylamide, a toxic chemical compound that forms when starchy foods are fried at high temperatures. This compound is linked to inflammatory processes in the body and can damage heart cells. And if all this wasn't enough, French fries are loaded with salt and chemical additives that promote fluid retention, raising blood pressure and overloading the cardiovascular system. 12. Pizza with lots of cheese and processed meat. It's hard to find someone who can resist a good pizza, but the combination of lots of cheese and processed meats makes it one of the worst foods for your heart. The big villain here is the excessive amount of saturated fat and sodium, a dangerous mix that can raise blood pressure and quickly clog arteries. Cheese, especially fatty or types like mozzarella and cheddar, contains high concentrations of saturated fat which raise blood cholesterol levels. And what about processed meats like salami, pepperoni, and bacon? They're true sodium and chemical additive bombs. Studies show that frequent consumption of processed meats is directly linked to an increase in cardiovascular diseases, since these products contain nitrites and nitrates, compounds that harm blood circulation and promote chronic inflammation in the body. The excess salt in these ingredients can cause fluid retention, making it harder for the heart to function and raising the risk of hypertension. And it doesn't stop there. Pizza dough, often made with refined flour, spikes blood sugar, increasing inflammation, and the risk of insulin resistance. If you truly love pizza, the ideal is to opt for healthier versions. 11. Donuts. Besides harmful fats, donuts are loaded with refined sugar, which spikes blood sugar levels and increases insulin resistance. This fosters the development of type 2 diabetes, which in turn is directly linked to cardiovascular complications. Excessive sugar consumption also promotes inflammation in the body, making blood vessels more vulnerable to injuries and increasing the risk of heart attacks. And as if that wasn't enough, the refined flour used in donuts is low in fiber, which causes the body to metabolize this food quickly, resulting in blood sugar spikes and fat accumulation. If you're looking for a healthier alternative, you might opt for baked versions, made with whole wheat flour and natural sweeteners like honey or dates. Of course, the ideal is always to minimize consumption of this type of sweet, as it offers virtually zero nutritional benefits and a huge negative impact on the heart. And remember, I'm still going to reveal the 6 foods that are poisons for your heart. It will be the top 6. Stay tuned. 10. Cakes with creamy frostings. Cakes with creamy frostings are loaded with refined sugar, trans fats, and hydrogenated oils, a destructive combination that fosters obesity, raises cholesterol levels, and contributes to the development of cardiovascular diseases. The big villain of these desserts is excessive sugar. When consumed frequently, refined sugar increases insulin resistance, leading to abdominal fat accumulation and promoting chronic inflammation in the body. This inflammation not only impairs metabolism, but also damages artery walls, facilitating the buildup of fat plaques and increasing the risk of heart attack and stroke. Moreover, sugar stimulates the release of dopamine, a neurotransmitter linked to pleasure, creating a vicious cycle of food addiction that leads to ever-increasing consumption of this harmful ingredient. Another hidden danger in industrialized cakes is the presence of chemical additives and preservatives, which prolong the product's shelf life, but have negative effects on health. These compounds can disrupt metabolism, increase fluid retention, and generate inflammation in the body, putting additional pressure on the heart. If you can't resist a cake now and then, prefer homemade recipes with natural ingredients, use whole grain flours, natural sweeteners like honey or dates, and reduce the amount of butter and refined oils. Another tip is to replace sugary toppings with healthier options, like 70% cocoa, chocolate ganache, or natural yogurt blended with fruits. This way, you can satisfy your sweet tooth without compromising your cardiac health. 9. Pork ribs. Pork ribs are famous for their intense flavor and tender texture, especially when prepared with thick, caramelized sauces. However, this beloved dish can pose a real risk to the heart. Rich in saturated fat and sodium, ribs can significantly raise bad cholesterol levels and increase blood pressure, promoting the development of cardiovascular diseases. The first major problem with pork ribs lies in the high amount of saturated fat in the meat. Although the human body needs fats for various metabolic functions, excessive consumption of saturated fats leads to the formation of fat plaques in the arteries, reducing blood flow and increasing blood pressure. This can result in heart attacks, strokes, and other serious health issues. Additionally, ribs are often prepared with store-bought barbecue sauces, which contain large amounts of refined sugar and sodium, 2 ingredients that further harm blood circulation. Another concerning factor is the presence of harmful chemicals that may arise during the cooking process. When meat is roasted or grilled at high temperatures, the formation of heterocyclic amines and polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons occurs, compounds that increase inflammation in the body and promote the development of cardiovascular diseases. Frequent consumption of meats prepared this way is directly associated with an increased risk of hypertension and obesity. 8. Bacon. Bacon is loved by many but hated by the heart. Extremely rich in saturated fat, sodium, and chemical preservatives, bacon is one of the most dangerous foods for cardiovascular health. Its frequent consumption is directly linked to an increase in bad cholesterol, artery clogging, and the development of high blood pressure, factors that significantly raise the risk of heart attack and stroke. The major problem with bacon lies in its high saturated fat content, which accounts for about 40% of the food's makeup. This type of fat is one of the main contributors to the formation of fat plaques inside the arteries, reducing blood flow and overloading the heart. Additionally, bacon is fried in its own fat, making it even more harmful and increasing caloric intake, promoting weight gain and obesity, factors that further exacerbate cardiac risks. Another serious danger of bacon is the excessive sodium. Just 3 slices of bacon can contain up to 600 milligrams of sodium, nearly 30% of the maximum daily recommendation. High sodium intake is directly linked to increased blood pressure, fluid retention, and kidney strain, making the heart more vulnerable to cardiovascular diseases. In the long run, regular bacon consumption can lead to heart failure and artery hardening, but the problems don't stop there. Bacon also contains nitrites and nitrates, chemical substances used to preserve the food and enhance its flavor. These compounds can transform into nitrosamine, as in the body, highly inflammatory substances that harm blood vessel health and increase cancer and cardiovascular disease risks. If you're a bacon lover, consider substituting it with healthier options. Grilled mushrooms, avocado, or even roasted chicken strips can provide similar flavor and texture without the health risks. Reducing the consumption of processed foods is one of the most effective strategies to protect your heart and ensure a longer, healthier life. 7. Cheddar cheese. If there's something that makes a burger or a plate of pasta even tastier, it's melted cheddar cheese. Creamy, rich, and intensely flavorful, this cheese is a real temptation, but behind its irresistible texture lies a major threat to the heart. The first major issue with cheddar lies in the excessive amount of saturated fat. Just 1 slice can contain about 6 grams of this type of fat, which, when consumed regularly, contributes to the buildup of fat plaques in the arteries. These plaques narrow blood vessels and hinder blood flow, increasing the risk of heart attacks and strokes. Additionally, excess saturated fat causes inflammation in the body, one of the main triggers for cardiovascular diseases. Another concerning factor is the sodium present in cheddar. Unlike more natural cheeses like ricotta or queso fresco, industrialized, cheddar is loaded with salt to enhance flavor and extend its shelf life. Just 1 slice can contain up to 300 milligrams of sodium, and in dishes like cheeseburgers and nachos, this amount multiplies. Excess sodium increases fluid retention, overloads the kidneys, and raises blood pressure, one of the main risk factors for heart diseases. Furthermore, cheddar is not a natural cheese. Many versions sold in the market contain artificial colorings, preservatives, and chemical additives, which can increase inflammation in the body and impair metabolism. Unlike purer and less processed cheeses, cheddar undergoes a long industrial process that adds unhealthy ingredients to the final product. And now we've reached the top 6. You should be extra cautious from here on out. 6. Shrimp. Although shrimp is an excellent source of protein and contains nutrients like selenium and omega-3, it also has an alarming level of cholesterol. If consumed regularly and without moderation, it can contribute to the increase of bad cholesterol and negatively affect cardiovascular health. The main concern with shrimp lies in the high amount of cholesterol present in its composition. To give you an idea, just 100 grams of shrimp contain about 190 milligrams of cholesterol, which is almost 70% of the daily intake recommended for a healthy person. For those who already have a history of high cholesterol, hypertension, or heart diseases, this number can be worrisome. Excess cholesterol can accumulate in the arteries, forming plaques that hinder blood circulation and increase the risk of heart attacks and strokes. Another important factor to consider is how shrimp is prepared. Fried, breaded shrimp, or those prepared with creamy sauces become even more harmful as they add large amounts of saturated fat and sodium. These ingredients not only raise cholesterol levels, but also overload the cardiovascular system, promoting an increase in blood pressure and fluid retention. Additionally, many shrimp sold in the market are far-raised and may contain antibiotics and chemicals used to prevent diseases in cultivation. These compounds can cause inflammatory effects in the body, impairing the function of blood vessels and increasing cardiac risks in the long term. Does this mean shrimp should be eliminated from a diet? Not necessarily. The secret lies in moderation and proper preparation. 5. Red meat steak. Red meat steak is a staple in the diets of many people, whether it's a juicy, grilled fillet or a Sunday barbecue. Red meat is part of the culinary culture of many countries. However, what few know is that frequent consumption of fatty meats can pose a serious risk to heart health. Red meat contains high levels of saturated fat and cholesterol, two factors that can lead to the hardening of arteries and increased blood pressure. The problem begins with the fattier cuts like ribeye, ribs, brisket, and tenderloin. These cuts are rich in saturated fat, which raises bad cholesterol levels and promotes the formation of plaques in arteries. This process, known as atherosclerosis, can restrict blood flow to the heart and brain, increasing the risk of cardiovascular diseases. Additionally, excessive consumption of red meat is associated with chronic inflammatory processes, which can further exacerbate heart problems. Another concerning factor is the method of preparing the meat. When red meat is grilled or roasted at high temperatures, harmful chemical compounds such as heterocyclic amines and polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons can be formed. These substances not only increase the risk of cancer, but also contribute to inflammation in blood vessels and promote the development of high blood pressure. But the problem isn't just the fat. Studies suggest that excessive consumption of red meat can disrupt intestinal microbiome, leading to the production of inflammatory compounds like trimetamine and oxide, or TMAO. This compound has been linked to an increased risk of heart attacks and strokes, as it interferes with the body's ability to metabolize fats and control the formation of arterial plaques. Does this mean red meat should be eliminated from a diet? Not necessarily. The ideal is to reduce consumption and choose leaner cuts like tenderloin, round, and sirloin, which contain less saturated fat. Additionally, opting for healthier cooking methods, such as low-temperature cooking or quick grilling, can help reduce the formation of harmful compounds. For sausages, the sausage is one of the most consumed foods worldwide, whether in the classic hot dog, in quick dishes, or even at breakfast. But few people know that this highly processed food is one of the biggest villains for heart health. Rich in saturated fats, sodium, and artificial preservatives, sausage can drastically increase the risks of cardiovascular diseases when consumed regularly. The main problem with sausage is its high sodium content. Just one unit can contain more than 500 milligrams of sodium, which represents almost a third of the daily intake recommended. Excess sodium contributes to increased blood pressure, promotes fluid retention, and overloads the heart, making it more vulnerable to heart attacks and strokes. People who regularly consume sausages are at greater risk of developing hypertension, one of the main factors for heart problems. But sodium isn't the only danger. Sausages are made from processed and fatty meats, mixed with chemical additives, like nitrites and nitrates, which serve to preserve the color and extend the product's shelf life. The big problem with these preservatives is that in the body, they can transform into nitrosamines, highly inflammatory substances that damage the arteries and increase the risk of heart diseases. Studies show that frequent consumption of processed meats, such as sausage, is associated with a 42% higher risk of developing cardiovascular diseases. Additionally, sausage contains high amounts of saturated and trans fats, which increase bad cholesterol levels and reduce good cholesterol. This imbalance promotes artery clogging and can accelerate the development of atherosclerosis, a dangerous condition that restricts blood flow to the heart and brain. If you want to take care of your heart, the best thing to do is to avoid sausages and other processed meats as much as possible. 3. Creamy pasta sauce. A well-served plate of pasta with a creamy sauce is the gastronomic comfort of many people, but this combination, when consumed frequently, can be extremely harmful to heart health. This is because white and creamy sauces are loaded with saturated fat, sodium, and empty calories, factors that contribute to weight gain, increase cholesterol, and the development of cardiovascular diseases. The major problem with this dish lies in the traditional white sauce, made with cream, butter, cheese, and refined flour. Cream and butter are concentrated sources of saturated fat, which raise bad cholesterol levels. Another concerning factor is the excessive use of cheese in the sauce preparation. Cheese is like Parmesan, Gorgonzola, and cheddar are high in sodium and saturated fats, which can overload the heart and increase the risks of high blood pressure. Just one serving of pasta with creamy sauce can contain more than 800 milligrams of sodium, which is more than half the daily limit recommended for people with cardiovascular problems. And the danger doesn't stop there. The pasta used in these dishes is usually made with white refined flour, which rapidly increases blood sugar levels. This glycemic spike causes inflammation in the arteries, promoting fat accumulation and increasing insulin resistance, a risk factor for heart diseases and type 2 diabetes. If you're a pasta fan but want to protect your heart, opt for healthier versions like whole wheat pasta, sauces made with natural tomatoes and olive oil. Replacing cream with natural yogurt or plant-based milk can reduce the load of saturated fat and make the dish much more nutritious. Small changes in diet can preserve your health and prevent cardiovascular problems in the future. 2. Soft drinks. Soft drinks are among the most consumed beverages worldwide, but despite being refreshing and tasty, they pose a significant threat to heart health. These drinks are loaded with sugar, chemical additives, and artificial colorings, which can accelerate the development of obesity, type 2 diabetes, and cardiovascular diseases. Sugar is the biggest villain in soft drinks. Just one can contain up to 40 grams of sugar, equivalent to 10 teaspoons. This excess sugar causes blood sugar spikes, forcing the pancreas to release large amounts of insulin. Over time, this can lead to insulin resistance, one of the main risk factors for diabetes and heart problems. Additionally, excess sugar raises blood triglyceride levels, contributing to artery clogging and increasing the risk of heart attack. Another danger of soft drinks is that they contain no essential nutrients. Unlike natural juices, which offer vitamins and antioxidants, soft drinks are empty calories which do not nourish the body and only promote abdominal fat accumulation. This fat buildup in the abdomen is a significant risk factor for heart diseases, high blood pressure, and metabolic syndrome. And if you think diet sodas are safe alternative, think again. Studies show that artificial sweeteners in zero or light soft drinks can cause metabolic imbalances and increase cravings for ultra-processed foods. Additionally, they alter the intestinal microbiome, harming digestive health and promoting silent inflammation that directly affect the heart. The best choice for those wanting to protect their cardiovascular health is to reduce or eliminate soft drink consumption. Prefer healthier alternatives, such as sparkling water with lemon, unsweetened, natural teas, and whole fruit juices. Hydrating properly, avoiding sugary drinks can improve blood circulation and reduce the risk of heart diseases. 1. Cream-filled cookies. Cream-filled cookies are among the worst ultra-processed foods out there. Their frequent consumption significantly increases the risks of obesity, diabetes, high blood pressure, and cardiovascular diseases. The major problem with this food is the dangerous combination of sugar, trans fat, and refined flour. Each bite is an explosion of ingredients that promote inflammation in the body, deregulate metabolism, and accelerate the process of fat accumulation in the arteries, constantly putting the heart at risk. Just 2 filled cookies can contain up to 10 grams of sugar, and this sugar is quickly absorbed by the body, causing blood sugar spikes. In response, the body releases high amounts of insulin, favoring the development of insulin resistance and visceral obesity. 2 factors then increase the risk of heart attack and stroke. But the danger doesn't stop at sugar. Cream-filled cookies are loaded with trans fat, one of the worst types of fat for heart health. This type of fat is not naturally found in foods. It is artificially created through the hydrogenation of vegetable oils, making them more stable and increasing the shelf life of industrialized products. However, this chemical stability comes at a high cost to the human body. Trans fats drastically increase bad cholesterol, reduce good cholesterol, and promote inflammation in the arteries. The result? A significant increase in the risk of cardiovascular diseases. Another major problem with cream-filled cookies is the refined flour used in the dough. Unlike whole grain flours, which contain fibers and nutrients, refined flour undergoes an industrialization process that strips away all its beneficial properties. This makes the food digest quickly, turning into sugar in the blood within minutes. Over time, this metabolic response causes insulin resistance, weight gain, and a greater tendency to accumulate fat in the liver, issues that overload the heart and circulatory system. And if all this still hasn't convinced you to avoid cream-filled cookies, remember that these products contain high levels of sodium, artificial preservatives, and chemical colorings which further damage the body. Many of these additives are highly inflammatory and are linked to digestive problems, allergies, and even changes in intestinal microbiome, which can directly impact heart and immune system health. If you have a sweet tooth, seek healthier alternatives. Homemade cookies made without flour, nuts, and honey can be an excellent option. Additionally, fresh fruits with natural yogurt can offer flavor and satiety without compromising your cardiovascular health. And if you want to keep getting the best videos for your health, subscribe to the channel because it exists for one reason: to make you a healthier person with a better quality of life. Helping you is my mission. In the video that appears now on your screen, I revealed the 3 fruits you should not eat at breakfast. Click on the screen and check it out. So until the next video.